All right, hello and welcome to League of Vloggers. Tonight's episode is Season 4, Episode 12. We are discussing more playoffs. Playoffs for everyone. Playoffs. Our host this evening, as always, we got Curtis James over there.
Hey.
We got our temporary COVID guest down below. We got Jeff, a.k.a. Coach Slippy, and myself. I am Viking Redbeard, a.k.a. Chase. So we got to see 10. Nope, we didn't even get to see 10 matches. We saw
two
matches,
best of fives.
Two best of fives is a good way to put it.
No, we saw one best of 5 and one just fucking garbage.
One of 5. There's one best of 5. One of, I mean, it could go 5.
One raffle stomp. I think that's a good way to put it.
Well, shall we start with the raffle stomp?
Why not?
I mean,
it was much to say.
It was the Tuesday match, the first of the two here, and it was FlyQuest coming down from the lower bracket or the upper bracket after having lost to Evil Geniuses. They were the 4th seed coming into the tournament, and they faced the number 6 seed, Golden Guardians, and they swept them, just straight up housed them. They lost 3-1 to Evil Geniuses, and they 3-0'd Golden Guardians. Chase, you said you were pretty shocked by the results, so let's start from your point of view here.
Yeah, I really was shocked. Like, I wasn't expecting them to win the series. Like, I wanted them to win because I'm a Golden Guardians fan. Realistically, I didn't see them beating FlyQuest, or at least not having like a great chance. But I saw them at least taking a game, maybe 2, maybe taking it to 5 and seeing what happens. And it was like they didn't show up. It's like, I don't know where their heads were at. They were not on the same rift as FlyQuest was. Yeah. They came in, they just looked bad everywhere, and it was really painful.
Yeah.
I was like, I had to stop like watching fully. I was like, oh, this is a dumpster fire. I'm gonna go over here and just wait to see if anything exciting happens.
I mean, yeah, it is obviously outmatched as they were across the board. I did feel 2 positions did pretty okay for Golden Guardians, and I think that was Golden Glue and Closer. I think they were outmatched by Power of Evil and Santorin, but I thought they at least looked decent.
Yeah, I mean, Closer made a few good plays here and there, but the rest of the team around him, like I guess Golden Glue, he didn't do poorly. Hanser seemed to be out of place a lot. Yeah. He didn't. I don't know. Hanser didn't seem like he was there playing properly, and then I don't know where the bot lane was. They didn't show up at all. He looked terrible in my opinion, and I mean FBI. I don't think he's all that great, but he definitely did not show up this weekend.
No, I mean,
or this week, I guess.
I said on our last episode that I thought if FlyQuest started solo, they were just gonna be fine, and I think that top difference really showed up in this series. That with solo and granted, like him facing Hanser versus him facing Kumo is very different. I think Hanser should really adopt a role similar to what Kumo has, where he plays weak side and can be good at that. But Hanser's never seemed to have that mentality. That's kind of a knock I've always had on him, that I feel like he wants to carry, and he is a coin flip when he, forces shit. And Solo's, when it comes to just, that 1v1 matchup, Solo's better than him. Like, 80% of the time. It's only when Hanser's really on top of things and Solo's, like, not doing his best that Hanser wins that matchup. So I think that ended up going pretty distinctly in the favor of FlyQuest, just because what that matchup was. If it was Viper, then yeah, they're both kind of coin flippy, and maybe Hanser could have carried a couple games for Golden Guardians, but not against Solo.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I guess what I saw with it was, this is the second place FlyQuest that we were all expecting how many weeks ago?
When they still were second place?
Right, when they still were, and like what we expected. Like, you saw, they looked very cohesive. They looked very put together, and it showed. I mean, if I didn't know any better, I'd be like, okay, this is a team, if you take away the names and everything, if you look at it that way, I could see it being a team actually putting up or being able to put up a good fight with C9 even. You know, do I think C9 would still win in the end? Yeah, but you take away the names and it's just like, okay, they looked really good. They looked cohesive. This is what I was kind of hoping to see with them when they put in Solo instead of Viper. I was like, okay, that's a great call, and I think it showed them that, okay, hey, Solo's got it, Viper doesn't right now. You know, keep going with Solo. Hopefully they do that in the next round.
I would be shocked if we see Viper come back in throughout these playoffs. Regardless of how far FlyQuest make it, I think you're playing Solo from here on out.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, he actually looked good. I mean, having
he's been in all 4 of your wins that you've gotten so far in playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it would make a lot of nonsense to swap up Solo. So I think I don't know. FlyQuest isn't always known for doing the most intelligent of moves, so maybe, but yeah, it's not in their best interest to do that.
Yeah. Well, on the other side of this, though, we do have Golden Guardians. Their spring split is now over. So this team, they made playoffs. They got in 6th place, and granted that was through a tiebreaker, a 3-way tiebreaker between them, Dignitas, and Immortals. But they did secure that playoff spot. They got in there. They get 3-0'd, unfortunately. What does this team take away from this split? Like, what positives, negatives from this split, and what should they be looking to do in the time they have off before summer split begins? Chase, you as a fan, I'm sure you have some thoughts on this team.
I don't know. I'd like to see them. I honestly don't know what I want to see them do. Like, I want to see them do better and play better. Like, it just seems like they're content being kind of middle of the pack. I don't know that they're really trying to make waves and try to take top 3. I think that they are just perfectly content not being bottom 4.
Making that playoff bubble.
Yeah.
What, I mean, do you think they're going to just stand pat then going into next split? Or do you think they're going to make some adjustments in order to make playoffs without needing a tiebreaker to get there?
I mean, I don't know what they can do with this current roster. They're basically just playoff bubble material with this current roster, unfortunately. Unless we see a huge change in some of these individual players' play styles, unless some of them decide to get swole and come back and do something crazy next split. I don't know. Without changing their roster, I don't think there's any amount of weightlifting that they can do on or off the Rift that is going to make them any better.
Well, and in regards to any sort of roster changes, Jeff, if you were to swap out 1-2 players, where would you be looking to do that?
On Golden Guardians, Hanser.
Oh, he's probably the one of the few people that I would keep. I would get rid of FBI and Huhi.
Well,
and
I mean,
try to find a little bit better of a bot lane.
Hanser.
Not to say that you can't have an opinion.
No, I know. But actually, I was getting there. But Hanser's one of my biggest complaints with Golden Guardians. He's too hot and cold. He needs to figure out what the hell is going on with him right now. And with Hanser, it's pain. It's painful to watch sometimes because you're like, he's better than that. It's kind of like Double Lift this season. You watch him, you're like, you are better than this. What the hell is going on? And that's kind of where I'm at with Hanser. FBI and Huhi, they really haven't shown anything. I don't know if that's the synergy that's not working there. I don't know if Huhi is just not feeling comfortable, with the duo that's going on. But I mean, I agree with you on definitely replace those two. Golden Glue and Closer, they both look great. I would keep them for sure.
Yeah, that's the core I would keep as well, for sure. I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to replace everyone, especially just in a mid-split offseason. But I think you guys are right. Like, those two, I think all of us are in agreement that they are kind of the core of this team currently. I'm curious to see if we see Keith come back in the support role next split. Because I thought he was developing just fine. They did seem to be a little bit better with Huhi in the back of the split, but Keith was still getting better. So I'm not sure that the small bump we saw from Keith to Huhi was worth the swap. And I wonder if Keith's continue improving, or maybe we just see them put in Keith at AD carry and keep Huhi in the support role. Because I don't personally feel like FBI's shown enough over the course of, 2 splits, maybe 3 splits, that, he should be your starter. I think it's 2 splits, because I want to say they played deftly in the spring split last year. So
yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, over the course of 2 splits, I haven't really seen him improve. Now, also to Deftly's credit, or FBI's credit, he hasn't really been, paired up with an actual support at any point. It's been Huhi, Keith, and then Huhi again. So maybe they do need to play him with, get a support from somewhere. I just feel like the bot lane as currently constituted has not made sense for Golden Guardians, and something needs to change there. And I also do see the issue with, I think Haunter's okay if you can't get a replacement for him, but I also don't think he's improving your team. He seems like just kind of the minimum necessary top laner to not be losing.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. I think that the Haunter is slightly better than Huni right now, and I think that's just kind of...
Wow, that's saying something. Whoa.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't know. It definitely seems like Haunter is just kind of like in this like sweet spot where he's probably not going to lose his job, but I think he is like closer to the end of his career than he is like to the beginning of it.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely he's been around for several years. He has never been a dominant top laner. His best years were obviously when he was winning championships with TSM, but that was also, the years where Bjergsen and Svenskeren were just crushing everyone, and they had Double Lift and Biofrost in the bot lane. Like that team was really good, and Haunter was a very large benefactor of that. Not that he was bad, but when you're on a bad team, by comparison, you don't get those same allowances. And that kind of has shown his weaknesses, it seems.
Honestly, what he should have done, because he came from TSM, right?
Yes.
He came from TSM directly to Golden Guardians.
I believe it was direct, yeah.
Okay. He should have evolved at that point, and he could have come out as Gensgar. Gensgar?
Gengar?
Yeah, we'll say.
Gengar.
No.
Gengar.
But he's got to keep the Z, because
Oh, that's true. Okay,
So it's gonna be Gensgar, something like that.
Wait, maybe he would just do G's instead.
You would do what?
Genja.
No.
Just swap
I'm
the
not a fan.
G's.
Keep the Z. Keep the Z.
Zengar.
Yeah.
He becomes
No.
very zen.
No. I like none of that. No, he should have evolved when he was traded, because that's how Haunter evolves into Gengar as you
It's
trade.
true. It's true. It's a trade evolve.
Oh my god, I forgot that was a trade. He wasn't traded though. He was a free agent who signed. That's his problem. He needs to be
So
traded.
that's why he didn't evolve.
That's
Damn
his
it.
problem. He needs to be traded, and then we'll see him.
He needs
truly.
to evolve. He needs to unlock the power of Gengar and
Gensgar.
Gensgar. Yeah.
Dude, Gengar was a beast. Anyways.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good spot there. Let's bump over into the other match that we saw, best of 5.
Yes.
It did go all 5 games, and the 5th game was a banger.
Oh,
it was 100 Thieves. They had lost 3-0 to Cloud9, being the 3rd overall seed in the tournament, and they went down to face TSM, the 5th overall seed in the tournament. And this one, it was a really interesting series. TSM won game 1 and 4 pretty handily. 100 Thieves won 2 and 3 in closer form than that. And then game 5, it came down to it. Like, it was anyone's game.
Game 5 was a shit show. I honestly, so I watched games 1 through 4 yesterday before I started streaming. And so I didn't even watch game 5 until today. I didn't know who won. And like when I was watching it, I was like, TSM had just won the last 2. I assumed that they were gonna take the 3rd game in a row. And
No, TSM won 1 and 4.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, their
I'm
victories
sorry.
were split.
TSM didn't look very.
They crushed Game 4. They dominated Game 4.
Okay. No, okay. Then I'm just thinking about how bad Game 5 was. Game 5 was just so garbage. Like TSM started off strong, then they like very much were like, "Here you go, 100 Thieves. You can have this win." And then 100 Thieves was like, "Okay, give us the cake. We want to eat it." And then 100 Thieves was like, I don't know if we want to win. Do you guys want to win?" And then like they handed the baton back to TSM. And TSM was like, "Okay, we got this, guys." And then they just started losing every single team fight. I was like, TSM, what are you doing? Why are you going in on that? Dardoch, why are you dead?
Dardoch was
again
hard inting the fights. It felt like for a bit.
He was.
I mean, it was mentioned by the broadcast team that TSM, and this is the sign you see of a lot of teams who are kind of in the middle, which 5th place, kind of in the middle. In fact, it's like exactly in the middle. They have short win times and long loss times. And usually what that means is a team who's like, if we get the lead, we go ahead and we take the victory, which is what TSM would do a lot of the time. And then the loss time, like 40-minute losses, is like, well, we were behind, but like we held in there and we didn't give up, blah, blah. In TSM, it was the opposite. It was, if we don't win with this lead, we slowly piss it down our leg and we let the other team win. And we saw it in Game 2. We saw it in Game... Well, I don't know if they had the lead in Game 2 and 3 both. I know one of them they did. Game 5, they definitely had a lead, but they weren't able to expand it to like 5K. It was always like 2K or whatever. And eventually 100 Thieves... Like, we saw consistently in the 2 games that 100 Thieves won and in Game 5 that 100 Thieves was a much better late game or mid to late game team fighting team. Like, TSM's very good at getting leads in their lanes and making good rotations and stuff, but once you get outside of that, like, game plan territory of, like, the first 15 to 20 minutes, shit starts breaking down for them real fast. And it's kind of awful to watch. And I feel like Game 5, 100 Thieves had pushed up, and I think they took Inhib turret. I don't believe they took Inhib. I don't remember. And they backed off to get Drake Soul, and they got it. But Cody-san was like standing out in the river by Pixel Brush and gets one shot by Bjergsen. I feel like if and they didn't end up getting Drake Soul. They like left it. I think I don't remember. But if Cody-san's not standing where he can get one shot, if he's like tight into the pit, or whatever, if he's not so far the hell away, he doesn't get one shot, and I think that completely changes that game. Because, yeah, I'm positive 100 Thieves pulled off after he died. And it's like, well, shit, that's soul you just didn't get. That kills your team fighting ability. That kills, the momentum you're having. Like, all these little things, and it comes down to that one thing. So kudos to Bjergsen for going out there, getting the pick, killing Cody-san, but also, come on, man, you can't be doing that at that point in the game. And I guess it just reinforces that these teams, even 100 Thieves TSM, who are number 3 and 5, are so much farther below our number 1 team right now.
Was Game 5 the draft where we had the 280 carries, or was that Game 4?
Game 4 was the Callista top for Broken Blade, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a dumpster fire.
Yeah, because TSM straight stopped with the Callista.
Yeah, that was insane. How they were able to. I mean, Callista top lane is definitely kind of a very off meta pick, but the fact that it worked so well, like I just feel like 100 Thieves were like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. Yeah, game 5 was like, I would watch for 5 minutes. I would take a look at my computer for 30 seconds to do some work stuff. I'd come back and there was somebody else in the lead.
Yeah.
And like there was 12 extra kills on the board. I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, it was.
And like rewind and like go back and rewatch. I was like, oh, that was terrible.
It was a messy game, and something at the end of it all that kind of stood out in my mind is TSM all year. They were very much, I said they were inconsistent all season. That was the reason I ended up picking 100 Thieves for this, and I was this freaking close to being right. But I wasn't. But TSM been inconsistent, and the jokes were online. TSM got in both an 0-2 and a 2-0 in the same game, or in the same series.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
Yeah, and, like, this team, there were times where we were like, okay, this is the second best team in the league. They should be the threat for Cloud9, and then they would like shit their pants and like whatever. And it becomes no surprise that they were 5th, and they weren't even in the tiebreaker for 2nd place. Because I feel like now when I look at this team, or look at the league as a whole, with what we've seen in playoffs, it becomes so much more clear. Like, we already knew Cloud9 was in Tier 1. Tier 2 is very much Evil Geniuses, 100 Thieves, and FlyQuest, those teams that were in a tiebreaker together. Maybe you divide FlyQuest out. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, this next week. But then there's TSM, and maybe they have FlyQuest, but I don't think they're with Evil Geniuses, 100 Thieves, really, because I think 100 Thieves, as they lost that, but overall they looked like the consistent team, the better team, just because consistency. They made too many mistakes, and it failed them. But I think, if there's a team I'm looking towards next split, right now I'm looking towards 100 Thieves, because I don't know what's there to fix with TSM, whereas I'm seeing 100 Thieves constantly improve. So then you got TSM, and then also what we saw of the FlyQuest Golden Guardians game is that's where that tier breaks again. And then you have Golden Guardians and the teams they tied with, Dignitas and Immortals, and you can maybe put Liquid in that, or maybe you put Liquid with CLG, because CLG's been improving. Now, I think Team Liquid will be 2 tiers higher next split, but it's become so obvious how these teams are tiered out within the LCS, and it's really hard to imagine that FlyQuest or TSM are going to jump 2 tiers, or jump a tier and challenge Evil Geniuses if Evil Geniuses loses to Cloud9, or jump 2 tiers and challenge Cloud9 if they make it to the final. Like, I don't know. Nothing I saw in TSM versus 100 Thieves made me think, yep, one of these teams can challenge Cloud9. I mean, Cloud9 just 3-0 100 Thieves crazy fast, and TSM barely stood up to that team. They barely came out with a series win.
That's the craziest part about all of this. Knowing that Cloud9 dumpstered 100 Thieves and TSM struggled, like straight up struggled, trying to pull that win.
Yeah. So 100 Thieves, their split's over once again. Jeff, I'll toss it to you this time. What do they take away from this spring split? Like good, bad, whatever? And what should they be looking forward to in the time they have off until summer?
Good, bad, or the bad, Ryoma. They need to figure out something with that boy.
See, I'm the opposite way. I know he got dumpstered, and he's completely outmatched against, like, Niski. I think he did fine against Bjergsen, and his improvement from the beginning of the split to now, I think, is evident. Like, Keith did not improve at support as much as Ryoma did in mid, and I think that's the thing. If he's improving, I think the staff is doing something right and continuing to develop him. But okay. I mean, that's my take on Ryoma. I still think, he's probably one of the weakest players on the team, but that's not surprising considering it's Someday, Cody-san, Meteos,
Right. I mean, the good news is that Meteos, Cody-san, and Someday looked really good, and I mean, with them finishing as high at the end of the split, I think they can realize, okay, we actually have a solid foundation here for the most part. We know where to develop from here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them up there again next split, if not, contention for at least 2nd and 3rd. And this is just it's just assuming Team Liquid. I mean, okay, so let's assume Liquid gets it together and they're top 2. Evil Geniuses is going to be top 3. So maybe I misspoke, but I could see 100 Thieves being top 3, 4. I could see them being in contention with Evil Geniuses and stuff like that, especially if we keep seeing them just the way they're going. So that's what's good about it.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. Like, I said, I think the development of Ryoma has been good. And I'm with you that, Someday, Cody-san, they look like they were playing well. I think their focus on development going forward, obviously they don't shift away from developing Ryoma, but I think Stunt needs to improve. If they can have Stunt improve the way Ryoma did, that's great, because what we saw in this series and for the back half of the split is Stunt is a good Nautilus hook bot, and that's about all he brings to the team. if he's not on Nautilus, I don't expect him to do much. And I think he as a support needs to be better than that. I mean, he does well on the Nautilus.
Played the Blitzcrank in that series in game 2 or 3.
He might have. I don't remember the Blitzcrank off the top of my head.
Because I remember there was
played a lot of Nautilus.
That series.
I'll look it up. Do you have any thoughts on 100 Thieves?
No, I think Meteos played pretty well. He was kind of shaky in some of those games earlier in the split, and then he looked really good in this best of 5 here. Even though they did not walk away with the win, he still looked pretty solid. I do find it a little bit amusing that Dardoch is the one that dethroned him or like pushed him out of playoffs after Dardoch sat behind Meteos all last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Some days looking okay. I can agree with you. Stunt does have some room for improvement. I don't know. I think that this team is going to slowly get better. I'm in agreement with you guys. I think that if things continue to move this way, they're probably a 4 or 5 team. Assuming that TL takes the number 1 or 2 spot and Cloud9 takes the other one. So
right.
no, I think they've got.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think they've got a good. They had a good ending to this split. I think that they know where they need to improve on, and they can probably try to make some changes. But once you get to those top spots, like there's only so many spots, and you know the other teams are better. So
yeah. I mean, I was with that when Jeff mentioned it too. Like, I think they could compete for 2-3 and going forward. But then it's like, well, TL's gonna get better too. And Stunt actually played Nautilus all 5 games.
Oh.
So it might have been in the previous series against Cloud9 or something. I don't recall it for sure. But yeah, Stunt played Nautilus all 5 games.
All right. I thought I saw... It must have been one of the other sets. I definitely did see a Blitzcrank.
As a fellow support main,
maybe
it hurts. It hurts.
What hurts specifically? Seeing the Nautilus?
The fact that he only can play Nautilus at this level. I mean, he's a pro.
He played a very good Nautilus. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, God, yeah. Yeah,
I just expect you need to be able to do something more if your team's gonna become, successful overall.
Yep, especially if you're gonna if you can break out like Rakan or.
Yeah, and we saw Biofrost play Rakan, and we saw him play Tarek and stuff. The Blitzcrank was game 2 by Ignar in the FlyQuest Golden Guardians series, and I thought that'd be the case because Ignar is known a little bit for his Blitzcrank, yes. Yep. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to say about 100 Thieves. I mean, I think they put up a good split, especially considering this split for them was intended to be a developmental split, especially with Ryoma, and I think they got what they wanted out of developing him. Someday is looking a bit back in form as compared to how he looked last split. Cody Sun's still looking good. I think this team just needs to continue what they're doing, because it seems like they're making all the right decisions. Honestly, even the craziness of the coaching, game 2, the saltiest of runbacks. Game 2 was the exact same pick ban. It was 20 for 20. Every pick, every ban in the same spot. After they had lost with that exact draft, they're like, oh, let's do it again. TSM saw like what they're doing, like, well, we just won. And then 100 Thieves beat that. Like, that was probably their best game, was game 2, where they're just like, nope, see, we did this shit wrong, and we can do it better, and we won. And I think seeing that out of this team also gives me a lot of hope for them, because it shows they're able to identify their issues, not blame champions, not blame whatever, just saying, hey, I played this wrong. Oh, I can do this better. These players are able to take criticism, take direction, take coaching, and then go with that. I mean, because a team where the players can't do that do not win with those same characters. So I expect them to see I expect to see them do well in the next split. But until then, we have 2 games coming up this weekend. Where would you guys like to start, the lower bracket or the upper bracket?
Let's start with the lower bracket.
All right, so that means on Sunday we see FlyQuest versus TSM, our two victors just now. Personally, I think it's really interesting because we saw FlyQuest win one game off of Evil Geniuses. 100 Thieves took no games off Cloud9, and then when they came down below, FlyQuest 3-0'd Golden Guardians, but I also don't think Golden Guardians is as good as TSM, and TSM did win, but it was very close to 100 Thieves. So it's still kind of hard to gauge how good each of these teams are and what we expect to happen here. Jeff, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I'm going to repeat this, and I know I said it 2 days ago. Depends, or 3 days ago. My bad. But anyways, depends on which TSM shows up. I really hope that they learned a few things in this best of 5 that they had with 100 Thieves. My hope is that they're learning, okay, we can have Bjergsen carry if he's on the right champ. If not, he's gotten kind of to the point where he can hold back and, take a losing lane for a little bit. I'm really hoping to see Broken Blade maybe not int as much, because he did have a few times where he was like balls to the wall, in those matches. As for Kobe and
It's Kabe and Biofrost in the bot lane.
Biofrost, yeah, Kabe and Biofrost, wake up, do something. Rather than just, I mean, I feel like we've been saying that all season long about them too. It's just we have not seen anything out of them, and I would love to see them do something. Play, or if they can win through bottom lane, show it. Because if they don't, I don't see them even winning against. If they somehow make it to the finals, I don't see them winning the finals, no matter who it is.
Yeah, and actually, I wonder, Chase, if you caught while you're watching that Game 5, Freak mentioned on the cast that he saw Kabe was building towards what it looked like was a Phantom Dancer, and he was basically doing no damage in the fights because there was so much armor on the enemy team. And he's like, you need to build a Last Whisper. What are you doing? You gotta build a Last Whisper. And at some point, someone on the team must have, noticed it, or maybe he noticed it. But usually, you don't, catch yourself in the wrong build. Usually somebody else has to catch you. And he sold his Zeal to get the Last Whisper instead and built, a pen item. And it's just, that made huge difference in the ability to even contest in a team fight, let alone win one. So yeah, Jeff, what you said, we need them to wake up. There's a lot of waking up that needs to be done in that bot lane.
Yeah. As for we have FlyQuest, right?
Yep, FlyQuest and 100 Thieves, or TSM.
Okay, as for FlyQuest, I mean, as much as I want to see TSM win this, because low-key I am a slight TSM fan. But anyways, just shut up. Anyways, I don't think it depends on which TSM shows up. If it's the TSM that beat Cloud9, we're in for a really good series, especially as long as FlyQuest keeps in solo. If solo stays in, which I think he will, I really think FlyQuest will be able to bring it on their best ability, because every other lane in jungle look good on FlyQuest. Mm-hmm. Yes, do they have their issues here and there? Sure, but they still overall look good. Yeah. So if we get that plus the TSM that isn't wishy-washy, I think we're going in for a 5-game series, and it's going to be extremely close.
Yeah, see, I think it should be close. And one other thing you mentioned, that TSM saw that they could carry through Bjergsen. I mean, we saw that, his Zoe game was very good. And they put him on some champions to give him an opportunity to carry, and he did. He did very well for them, especially games 4 and 5. My worry, though, is if that is their most reliable win condition, which it seems like just based on that series, if that has any opportunity to work against FlyQuest, because exactly the reason Cloud9 picked 100 Thieves over FlyQuest is that jungle mid synergy, because we saw Santorin and Power of Evil demolish Golden Guardians in that jungle mid duo. And I don't think Dardoch and Bjergsen are going to get the free reign they're used to, especially if Solo's in the top where they can't go, well, we're going to go Dardoch Broken Blade, that, we're going to go top jungle. good luck. Santorin's good enough. He's going to keep pace with Dardoch, if not beat Dardoch. I think he's actually currently better. Dardoch's a much more aggressive jungler, but Santorin seems to be in the right place at the right time more often, and he seems to make more measured plays and not give things away. So I'm going to go ahead and say I think FlyQuest is taking this one. I've got a 3-1 on it because I think TSM will get an early game lead on one of the games and they'll stomp it. They'll get an early game lead in one of the other ones that they'll throw the hell away. And then the other 2 games, it'll be close or a FlyQuest lead. Like, I think they're close enough in that early game that it'll go, pretty evenly divided overall. And, I mean, just because we know TSM can throw late, and I think FlyQuest is a well enough put together team that if it comes to late, like, the only thing I'm worried about with FlyQuest is Wild Turtle. Because I think Solo's going to make the right flanks generally. I don't know that he's going to, crush or whatever. I think Broken Blade's the one I trust to, like, crush a fight more. But I think Santorin's going to do the right thing, whereas I think Dardoch is sometimes too greedy. He's trying to make something happen where there isn't something. Power of Evil and Bjergsen, I say that's pretty much even up right now, because Power of Evil did so much fucking damage for his team and carried so hard against Golden Guardians. But we saw Bjergsen look good too. And then down the bot lane, I think Kabe and Wild Turtle are fairly even in what we've seen from them this year. Like, neither of them are dominating, but I do think Wild Turtle's a little more of a liability still. But Biofrost and Ignar, I think Ignar's the one who makes plays so much more often than Biofrost. Like, Biofrost does well, but he's not the reason a fight starts and you're just like, holy shit, it's already over. In Ignar, sometimes a fight starts and you're like, he just crushed it. He CC'd everyone he had to and defended everyone he had to, and it's just over. And I think Ignar is going to be a giant difference maker in this game. So I'm going to say FlyQuest is my pick, 3-1.
Okay.
Chase?
I mean...
Did you see my message, Kurt?
No, I can't see your messages because you guys are full screen.
Oh, shit.
Dumbass.
See,
Sorry.
I love it. Bowl cut turtle versus beautiful turtle.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, I'm going to disagree with you on this one, but only in who I think is going to win. Like, I think everything you said about FlyQuest is perfectly valid. I think that they have a very good chance to I think they have a very good chance to win, but I think that TSM is going to have a slight edge. Will take it. I don't know. I could be wrong. I probably will be wrong, but I'm going to be leaning into a 3-2 for TSM. Like you said, or like Jeff said, if we see Bull Cut Turtle versus Beautiful Turtle, it'll very much depend on how FlyQuest does. Watching them 3-0 Golden Guardians isn't like much of a place to gauge where they're at. Whereas TSM, I know that based on that game 5, I wouldn't say that I know that they're better than 100 Thieves, but they pulled out the win when it mattered. And I think that they could do that in a best of 5 against FlyQuest.
Yep. I have to agree with Chase, pretty much everything he said, but I go 3-2 TSM as well. So.
All right, well, that leads us into our final matchup to discuss. Saturday, we get to see Cloud9 against Evil Geniuses, the 1 and 2 seeds in this tournament. Loser of this game will play the winner of the previously discussed match, and the winner of that, of course, will come back to the finals to face whoever wins this. So, I think we're all going to ride on Cloud9 for this one.
Oh, yeah.
But the question is more so, we saw Evil Geniuses look very good compared to FlyQuest, 3-1 in that victory, although there were close games throughout. And we saw Cloud9 dominate 100 Thieves, who did lose to Evil Geniuses, or to TSM, and FlyQuest, who played a much closer series against Evil Geniuses, dominated their lower bracket. So, through seeing all that, what do we actually expect out of this Evil Geniuses Cloud9 match? Is Evil Geniuses a team that can contest Cloud9? Or are we just going to see another slaughter?
Chase,
you're muted. What? No? Maybe he's not
Nope.
muted? He didn't mean to be muted.
I think he's having problems.
All right, go
Okay.
ahead, Jeff, while we're waiting for Chase to
All
get
right,
fixed.
yeah. So, I honestly think it's gonna be a 3-1. I really do. I think it's gonna be Cloud9 3-1. I think they're going to go in there, do what Cloud9 usually does. You know, probably the first two are going to be very, very good, or very much in the way of Cloud9. Will they be closer? Probably. I mean, it's going to be a lot closer than what we've seen. So there is that. But overall, I think 3-1. I think Evil Geniuses will get at least that one in on them. So.
So you think it's just going to end there, though, with just that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Chase, what are your thoughts on the
think-
matchup?
I was actually going to say the exact same thing. I think that Evil Geniuses have the potential to pull off a game from Cloud9, but I definitely don't see them pulling more than a game. Like I think this could very well be a Cloud9 3-0, but I think Evil Geniuses has played well enough that they have the cohesiveness
Cohesion?
to cohesion. Yeah, that's a good word.
Both
to pull off a win if Cloud9 makes any sort of mistake. But it's gonna be a Cloud9 loss because Cloud9 made a mistake, not necessarily because EG is better than Cloud9. And that's the only way I see EG pulling a win.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. I'm between 3-0 and 3-1. And I really do like the way you guys framed it, that Evil Geniuses is good enough to take mistakes and use them for a victory. And I think they've been playing cleanly enough recently, too, that I'm not terribly afraid of them making a bunch of mistakes themselves. But just going off of what we saw week 9, where Cloud9 threw bans at Jizuke and just challenged anyone else on the map to try and beat them, and EG wasn't able to, I'm going to lean towards 3-0, because I think unless EG is able to bring some sort of other twist to the table, I don't know that they can win. I think giving the power to Jizuke is the best way for EG to win. And I think it's their best matchup in Cloud9 as well, because Niski is generally roaming. So I think Jizuke, winning the lane and also then going to side lane push is the best way for Evil Geniuses to win. So if you take away those options, though, as Cloud9, you're getting rid of Ryze, Echo, those sort of picks. I think that really deadens EG's ability to seek victory, because against another team, then they say, okay, well, let's dump into Bang, and Bang and Zeyzal are the second best bot lane in the LCS right now. Unfortunately for them, Cloud9's got the best in Sven and Vulcan, and I don't know that it's nearly as close. I think Niski and Jizuke is a fairly close matchup, whereas Zeyzal and Vulcan, or Zeyzal versus Vulcan, I think Vulcan's a better laning support. Zeyzal's better in team fights, but if you're losing that lane and that's your way to win, that's not going to help you out. And I think Sven's just been ridiculous this split. So Sven with Vulcan on point, it's going to be hard to win that.
Is Sven still deathless in playoffs? I think he is.
Yeah, they only played the one series so far, so yeah.
Well, yeah, that's right. So, yeah.
And no. Sven has one death. It's Niski who's deathless.
Oh, okay, it's Niski.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fun fact also, Bjergsen went deathless in their 3 wins, I think, or he won death in their 3 wins, and Power of Evil went deathless in their 3-0 against Golden Guardians. So mid laner's popping off right now. But yeah, I definitely do think it's possible for EG to win a game. I just don't find it as likely based on the most recent game we saw between them and just the head-to-head matchups. So I'm going to go on that 3-0 right now, but if they get a win, I'm not going to be shocked at all. If it goes to 5, I will be surprised, and I think it will be a lot of credit to EG. It doesn't matter how many times Cloud9 messes up to lose twice. I think credit has to go to the first team to beat Cloud9 twice, and to do it within a 5-game series. That would be very impressive. That was great, Goose, in the background. Oh my god.
I'm surprised Disney hasn't been like...
flailing. But yeah, like
Oh,
it's just if you can manage to have Cloud9 mess up enough times to pull 2 games off them, it wasn't just them having a bad day. You are doing something right as a team to put them in situations where they make mistakes. So that's what I'll be watching for more than anything, to see if EG can push Cloud9 where Cloud9 feels like they have to try things that end up going wrong.
yeah. Now, stepping off of that, I mean, continuing with it, I should say. Um, I think this is going to be the matchup we see in finals.
I
I'm not
agree.
gonna lie. I think this is going to be the matchup that we see in finals. So what I want to see Evil Geniuses do is not necessarily win this. You know, I want to see them try. Don't get me wrong, and everything. And it'd be amazing, or well, not amazing, but it'd be astounding if they do take it.
Oh yeah.
But what I want to see them do most of all is learn from each game with them. Be like, okay, so we did this wrong. Let's adapt to this. Let's adapt to this. Because if they can do that, then I think, depending on how they do on Saturday, I think that's going to reflect on the overall thing. And then what we'll see in finals is going to be reflected on that. If they can learn that, and then we'll see how finals. That it really is going to be just like a preview of finals. So
yeah, I mean, I fully expect this to be the finals as well, especially after what we saw in the lower bracket. At one point I thought maybe TSM could challenge, but what I saw against 100 Thieves, I don't expect them to be able to beat Evil Geniuses. In fact, I don't know that they can beat FlyQuest right now. I'm unsure of that. And if we do see FlyQuest throw down against TSM, like win 3-1 and look very good, I think we can see FlyQuest get to the final against Cloud9. They were the second best team for the vast majority of the split. So it wouldn't shock me, especially with Solo in and getting more reps and getting more stage time. Maybe that'll be the one tweak FlyQuest needs to challenge what we've seen out of EG recently. And of course, you know, the head-to-head matchups, maybe that'll be interesting. But I think out of the teams who are remaining, assuming Cloud9 is in the finals, I think TSM is my long shot to make it.
yeah, the way they are right now, but
I think EG's the favorite, though. I agree with you.
Oh yeah,
because
no,
I want to see more
absolutely.
improvement from FlyQuest before I think they can beat EG. Chase, where do you stand on that?
I agree 100%. I think that this is going to be a early preview of what we're going to see in finals. Unless Evil Genius is like really drops the ball in the semifinals match, I just see them steamrolling either TSM or FlyQuest in best of 5.
Yeah. Well, any last thoughts before we wrap up the episode? I mean, we're little shorter than usual, not by much, honestly. And it's, you know, when you only got a couple series at a time, that's a nice thing about playoffs. It helps sync things up a bit quicker. Any last thoughts, anyone?
Nope. I hope TSM wins. I want to get at least a pick right. I fucked everything else up so far.
No, you picked Cloud9.
Yeah, it's all right. But
you picked Cloud9 over 100 Thieves. Nailed it. We take those, Chase. We take those.
Take it anywhere you can get it.
I'll take the gimme.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us here on Season 4, Episode 12 of League of Vloggers. Next episode, we'll be back to our usual Tuesdays. In fact, the 2 remaining episodes will be on Tuesdays. Until then, cheers.
Cheers.